Hello everyone, welcome to Infigon Talks. My name is Shubham and I'll be the host for today's interview. So Infigon Talks is a part of Infigon Future's flagship program where mentors from various institutes motivate and inspire aspiring students across the country. So today we have Ms. Kanika Mitharwal. She is currently pursuing her BA Honors in Sociology at Hindu College, University of Delhi. She is a certified diploma holder in French literature. She has also been the department topper for 2 consecutive years and was also selected as the only Indian facilitator at Asian Undergraduate Summit, National University of Singapore. Hello, Kanika. Welcome to Infigon Talks.
Hello. Hi, Shubham. Thanks for having me over.
Yeah, we are honored and immensely excited to have you here with us. So let's dive into the questions right away then. Okay?
Sure.
Okay. So firstly, as your career started right before the pandemic, has it affected you in any way? And how has your journey been through this difficult time?
So as far as my chosen path of career has been, it's not been something that has been very specific since the very beginning. I have been sort of experimenting and trying my hand at different areas of expertise. And during my undergraduate degree, during my last year itself, I did initiate my contribution in a startup, which was Unschool, which is again a startup which has recently got fundings from different corporations. So as far as that was concerned, it's again connected within a stream of my interest, that is education. So even if I look at that as a form of career path that I want to take, it's not something that I aim to just be fixated to for the remaining part, even despite knowing that this is going to be my path during the pandemic times. But I'm also going to try and get hold of a post graduation first, and then probably see and continue my career. And I don't think it's going to get impacted despite the pandemic because of the enterprising nature that my profile has been of.
Okay, that's a great approach, I must say. And surely the pandemic was a period of learning and unlearning things, and mainly accepting the new normal for that matter. Okay, so moving forward to the next question. We read that you're passionate about theory of gender and teaching. So could you elaborate on that? Any particular reason behind this interest?
Right. So as you just mentioned that times of the pandemic has been a lesson for us in terms of teaching us a lot of things, and also ensure that we unlearn a lot of other things. So it's only through experience and through certain circumstances that we're able to unlearn a lot that we have been told over the years in our life journey, right? As far as that was concerned, I think within schools and colleges in a country like India, we're not actively told about the importance of gender theory and what gender is all about. It was only after I exposed myself to the vast plethora of knowledge that is prevalent within the realm of gender studies, only after I experienced how gender plays out for a very big population of our country from a very early stage. So it basically happened as I was in ninth grade at school, that I was supposed to be a part of a volunteer work organization where we go and teach girl students from slum areas. Specifically because the school that I came from was a missionary of charity, a convent, girls' convent school. So, and obviously it had a lot of people who came from very well-to-do backgrounds. So it never really affected how gender could play out for people from very well-to-do backgrounds. So I think my first interaction and hold over how things might be for a very distinct part of a population was only once I gained a one-to-one experience with people who came from those areas where their gender determined a major part of their life opportunities and experiences. So that's how I carried it forward. I had sociology within my 11th and 12th grade as well, post which I continued my undergraduation in that. And I'm presently hoping to continue my post graduation in either sociology or a master's in gender studies.
Okay, wow, that's really great to know that you have been looking out for the society right from your schooling days. Great. So next question is, what made you choose to pursue BS in sociology? Was it always your choice, or did you just go with the flow?
It wasn't always my choice, as a lot of our professors back in the first year said, if you didn't choose sociology, you could always say that sociology chose you. And I think that's something I would say is very true for me as well. Although I always had an interest towards different realms within society, from school days, but as mentioned earlier, nobody really tells you the scope that subjects like these hold, not just for the societal development, but also for the overall development of a country. Not a lot of people come and tell you that extremely educated prime ministers of our country have been doctors in philosophy of different subjects. They've had PhDs in economics, in philosophy, in sociology, for that matter of fact. So they often confuse the path to governance and development through the mainstream path of civil services and administrations. They don't tell you that we also need people who specialize in certain fields, who have a very in-depth knowledge about certain arenas that are equally important to nation building. So I think over a period of time, as my understanding got a little better about things like these, I was able to determine my confidence as well as my capacity and capability to excel in a field like this, and therefore take it up as my undergraduation major.
Okay, great inputs. Okay, so moving forward, like looking at your profile, we must say that you have earned many achievements in very early stages of your life. So what, according to you, are the key factors to build a good profile?
I think because since school, a lot of us tell us that there's just three parts to take up. It's either finance and management, or it's you just do a BA as done, or you get into engineering and medical and all that. So because there's a plethora of opportunities also available, I think within college spaces, just narrowing down your experiences isn't a very good option. So even though I did my I did my undergraduation in sociology, but I still have a little experience in the corporate side. So I was doing sales and marketing, and therefore management and operations for a startup, which is to say that just because you're part of a certain field doesn't mean that you're only supposed to stick or limit yourself to opportunities and experiences that come in that field. So I think being open to opportunities is the best thing possible, and just keep looking out for as many opportunities as possible, because what sometimes happens is that you might sort of be educated, academically educated in a certain field, but you might end up taking a job in a completely different field. So what matters is being skilled, and skills are something that come only with experience, only once you take up certain opportunities. So within schools and college spaces, I don't think it's a good idea to just limit yourself and just stick to things in a particular dimension. So having a very holistic profile is very important, because I mean, not speaking from a very narrow-minded approach of people who come to recruit, but in situations when you do have a very holistic profile, it shows how enterprising as well as skilled an individual can be. So despite having a lot of interest within issues of gender and having a little experience within teaching side as well, I still feel that I'm confident enough to sit for placements or maybe even sit for interviews in the corporate world, because that's how holistically I've built my profile to suit to roles of leadership, to ensure that things like talent management, as well as hiring, recruitment, marketing, all these things are sort of, embedded as an asset that one can be to any organization that one works.
Okay, that was really great to know, and those were some really helpful tips, I must say there. Great. So like you just mentioned, you have previously worked with Unschool as a sales and marketing person. So we would like to know that how was your experience working there, since it was a startup?
So, of course, startups don't come with the promise of a regular stipend. Your stipend is dependent what performance you give in. So, I wasn't narrow-minded or limited to just issues of how much I'm going to be paid. So I was open to that. And because of that, I guess I really got a very close insight and a glimpse into how startups work. In terms of, I think the motivational factor, everybody was high on energy over there. Everybody just wanted to give in their best to a startup because it's again, even that startup was in its early stages of establishment. So I think my experience was one that it sort of did give me a very close insight of, what when one says that in life you should trust the process. So though initially as a sales and marketing intern, I felt like I wasn't doing pretty well, but I think I gave myself some time to understand what exactly I'm supposed to do. So I think just being patient and trusting the process are things that you hear a lot, but you only get to imbibe it once you get a hands-on experience with something of that sort. So it was a very positive and a very constructive experience, if I can say. And again, as I mentioned before, startups are in search of people who are equally motivated and looking forward to opportunities. So people should, in fact, try to get their first experience in whatever field through different kinds of just established organizations. So it will teach people a lot of things at a very early stage.
Mhm. Okay. That's wonderful to know. Amazing. So Kanika, you were also selected as the only Indian facilitator at Asian Undergraduate Summit by National University of Singapore. Would you like to elaborate on what exactly a facilitator is and what made you become one?
All right. So, National University of Singapore has been the core establisher for inter-ASEAN ties and talks. So, just how different foreign ministers and cultural ministers go to different countries and have discussions and diplomatic ties about issues of importance that are, part of the same continent. The aim of a summit like this was to basically create interconnections between students of different universities across the continent of Asia, especially Southeast Asia. Um, is also a part of this particular summit, precisely because the good relations that we hold with all of the ASEAN countries. So the very purpose of the summit was to create a dialogue about leadership in a complex world and how one can create sustainable lifestyles. So, in terms of that, I was one of the participants in 2019. And thereupon, I got an experience as to what delegation is like within this summit, post which there was an opening for facilitators from all over ASEAN in this year, which is how then I got to apply. And I also happened to be the only Indian who got selected as a facilitator. Facilitators are basically people who have a prior idea about what the summit is going to be like. What are the things that are going to be discussed? What is going to be the standard operating procedure for the entire summit? Are there any specific skills that we're going to put about while creating policies within the summit? So, and along with that, it also has a very important other function of facilitating between students from different countries. So it's one thing to communicate between and communicate within people from your own community and country. Another challenging experience to communicate with people from different countries, especially when a lot of stereotypes exist between different countries. Probably people from Singapore might, think in a certain manner about Indians. So I think being able to handle interconnected communications and despite certain language and accent barriers that do exist, um, facilitation can be challenging, but if you have the confidence of being able to communicate between people efficiently and effectively, then I think it's going to be an add-on support for you if you ever go for things like facilitation.
Okay. Firstly, many congratulations to you. And that's very commendable of you to go out of the way and think about others. Lovely. Okay. So moving on and finally coming out to our last question. what message and tips would you like to give to the aspiring students who happen to have interest in sociology?
Okay, so firstly, I'll just talk about any aspiring set of students, right? I think being a student is quite a challenging time because you're supposed to be focusing on a lot of things and sort of uncertainty as well, taking into consideration what the pandemic has brought us to. However, also realizing at the same time that um, being a student also gives you a lot of ability and power to make a difference, not just for your own lives, but also for lives in general. Which means that as a student, just by the fact of you working hard and doing well in what you're supposed to do can mean a lot of things to a lot of people. Not to say that merit is the only thing that's important, but the fact that you work hard and then you leave the rest is also what makes you prepared for what is going to come in your life forward. So, a lot of times we're going to apply for jobs and we're going to get rejected. But our understanding as well as our confidence over the work that we have put in, over the efforts that we have put in, should come to the realization that no effort, no knowledge, and no experience ever goes to waste. So if any student is aspiring to be somebody or to be a student within a particular realm, then they should never feel that I did not score enough or I did not do well enough. Just the fact that you worked hard, you put in your effort, just have the confidence and leave the rest. If you have the right intentions, if you have the right effort in place, everything's going to fall into place. As far as students who are concerned with sociology are prevalent, um, no two people within sociology are going to have the same academic interest within sociology. Somebody probably might be just interested in economics, somebody might be interested in political sociology, etc., etc. So I know it seems a little weird sometimes where you feel like my academic interest doesn't suit what the demand of the job market within India is. You're not a data analyst, you're not a digital marketing agent, you're neither an AI software developer. So how are you going to be relevant to, in a time of this gross level of unemployment that prevails? Just the fact that you are passionate about something and the fact that you can create your passion and your hard work into not just a form of living and sustenance for yourself, but also contribute towards nation development and community reorganization can be and ought to be one of the greatest motivational factors for a lot of people. So just because you don't see it on the internet, just because you don't see people on LinkedIn or Instagram posting about how established or how well-to-do sociologists can be, doesn't mean that you don't pursue it. Doesn't mean that you don't seek out what your real interests are. Because I mean, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but the world that we live in today, the very fact that we're able to communicate in a certain language, the fact that we're able to have this technology and to be able to have a certain sense of security within this technology are again issues of ethics. And ethics all comes and all flows from subjects like philosophy and the humanities. So one should never undermine the power that disciplines like these hold, and to never get motivated, even despite the fact that this might not be the most popular or the most chosen form of discipline. That's it.
That's so true. This will surely help everyone watching us. I'm pretty confident about that. And thank you so much, Kanika, for taking out time and sharing your thoughts with us. It was indeed a pleasure to have you here as our student mentor.
Well, very thanks to you as well. I had a really great time expressing my thoughts and also being able to actualize whatever forms of expectations that I not just hold for myself, but also for people within the community of sociology and the social sciences. So thanks for having me.
Okay, so here we conclude our session with this. See you next time with another thrilling interview. Until then, for what it's worth, drop a like, share, and subscribe to Infigon Futures. Thank you so much.